It's Tuesday, which means it's time to look at the waiver wire again, and we're going to be going deep at the wide receiver position, starting from the shallowness of the wide receiver abyss and going deeper through the sludges of wide receivers to help you for your deeper leagues. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're going deeper on the waiver wire than anybody else. Already multiple videos this week, and we got more tomorrow. We're calling out big fantasy football. We're doing deep dives on all the trending players, those players that rose up the depth chart now is all of a sudden starting for their team. On top of that, we're going to help you set your lineups at the end of the week. Click that button. It's a free resource. You need to subscribe now because Ric Flair's watching. You do not want to disappoint Ric Flair. We're starting off with Tez Johnson. He should be rostered in most leagues. He had a juicy matchup week 10 against the Patriots. He should be rostered in most leagues. He could have got returned to the waiver wire in leagues that are turning and burning or asleep at the wheel, considering just 9 points week 8, coming off the bye week. But he's on a team now that is in a lot of splash matchups. He's getting targets. He's getting opportunities. And the thing about Tez Johnson, he's a 50-50 play in the flex. He's a 50-50 dart throw. He's either going to get to the fairway or a little more, or he's going to burn out on you. And that's it. That's it for the rest of the season. You got the Bills on the road. That could be a fire game script. Bills defense was banged up last week. You got the Rams on the road. You got Arizona. You got the Saints. You got some interesting matchups coming up here. Tez Johnson is going to be seeing production out of those matchups because Mike Evans is gone. You got Mecca Buka, but he can't hold it down the whole time, and they got to go to other reads. Tez Johnson, a good 50-50 dart throw in the flex. Alec Pierce, a damn good 50-50 dart throw, if not more in the flex. A good gamble wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3-esque wide receiver. Should have already been picked up. He splashed in the last 2 weeks. We are going on bye. We got the Chiefs on the road for the rest of the year. I see him hitting about every other game, if not once every 3 games, but he's going to have a few more games where he splashes big. Few more games. He's going to be solid in the flex, solid wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 range, especially in these Colts matchups where they got to throw the ball. Jeudy. Now my tone is going to change. It's the Browns. They still got Dylan Gabriel. They're not wanting to move on from him. They're going to move on from him sooner than later. I think that's when Jeudy will get more opportunities. He did get 12 targets in this matchup. They are using him a little bit different with Tommy Reese back at calling plays. They're having to run a lot of drag routes over towards the left side. Dylan Gabriel only looks to the left side. We covered the charts here earlier this week, every week. Dylan Gabriel only looks to the left side. Now, that might be a little too much. He'll look to the right side probably about 5 to 10 times. Rest to the left. Jeudy will be out there running a fair amount of routes, running a good snap share. The rest of that is up to the football gods. You take that how you may. Darnell Mooney usually is rostered in most leagues. He hasn't fired. He's in good game scripts. You might want to throw that in the flex just in case in some of these matchups. You got Carolina. That's an interesting one. You got the Saints on the road. You got the Jets. They lost Old Sauce. And now you got Seattle. We're running routes. We're getting a lot of opportunity. 100% snap rate week 9, 90 rate last week. We're out there on the field. It's just not firing. We're kind of due to do something. We're due to score a touchdown. We haven't yet this season. We're getting a fair amount of work. 10 targets in the last 2 games combined. 4 targets in week 8. 5 in week 7. We might pop off in a fire game script. I look for him as a dire dart throw in the flex. Trey Tucker is a wide receiver that's about a 50-50 flex play, but it's the Raiders. I don't trust the Raiders. He was out there on 100% of the snaps. He might be back on the waiver wire. He might not be. He was a big pickup. Once Jacoby got traded, you do have Dallas. That could be the matchup you start him. If you look at him at the Cowboys matchup, you look at what you already got, you can't start him, just don't get him. Then you got the Browns. Then you got the Chargers on the road. Just don't get him if that's the case. If you can't start him against the Cowboys, just don't get him. It's a good matchup for him. The projection for sleeper is a lot higher compared to any other game on the season against the Cowboys. Should be seeing good volume. Should be out there running a lot of routes. Christian Watson, deep ball dandy. He's going to have a lot of games like this, 6, 7 PPR fantasy points, and then he's going to have a few more, maybe 3 to 4, where he splashes. I look for him to get a big touchdown somewhere down the line, to have a couple big catches somewhere down the line, racking up yards. I look for him to have a couple more good performances and a lot of what we saw last night. I see a lot of what we saw last night, especially how they distribute the football on this team, especially how he's using this offense. He's just a deep ball dandy. He's just another version of Jameson Williams out there on the field. Keon Coleman is a very poor version of the Will Fuller effect. Very poor, nothing close to consistency. He will probably have another game or two like this. Rest of them, 3, 6, 4, 10, 7, 5, 5. You're looking at that most of the season unless something really shifts. Remember, that game script was weird for the Bills. That is not a usual game script for them. Them getting diced up by the Dolphins of all teams. That defense was banged up. You got the Bucs coming in. He's always a threat to score on the big play. He got the touchdown here that buoyed his production. If he didn't get the touchdown, he ain't getting you there. He ain't getting you there. But he's also due probably score a couple more touchdowns on the season. You got some matchups here with some good volume here. Bills are always in some good volume. He's a gamble flex, but he's not consistent. Darius Slayton here. Watching him, he's got the Q right now. He came out of that game but came back in. We got the Packers coming up. That could be a very questionable game script. We got Detroit on the road, another one, and we got the Patriots, but that could have some good volume. The Detroit game could also have some good volume as well. What we like about Darius Slayton, deep ball dandy, a poor, great value version of the Will Fuller effect, Jameson Williams effect, where you catch that one deep target on any given Sunday, you're splashing for the week. And that's what we're looking at. And we hit the fairway in the last 2 weeks, 11 points in week 9 and 12 in week 10. So we're fine there. He's a gamble in the flex, and that's all he is. Like, I can't tell you to start him or really sit him. He's kind of just a choice. That's what he is. Like, you look at the matchup, and you feel good about the matchup, and then the odds are increased for him. He can hit in a bad matchup. Odds are increased in good matchups for him, considering the volume and the deep ball ability. Jayden Higgins, I look for him to be roughly inconsistent. I don't know if we'll hit this again. We could score another touchdown or two on the season. We got Nico Collins on the other side. You got to remember, this game script balled out. It balled out. It broke. It was not predicted. Vegas had under a 40 over-under for this game script here. Tennessee on the road, Buffalo on the road to Indy. We have some matchups here that might be beneficial to him. He's a big-time gamble dart throw right now in the flex. More often than not, I see him as a guy you stash away on your bench, and you're seeing if he materializes the more, because that could potentially happen. Second-round pick with a lot of upside from Iowa State. Tory Horton, he's banged up, but he's deep ball city. He scores touchdowns. He's got 5 already on the season. That's damn good for a rookie. And even with Rashid Shaheed there, I look for him to still get some deep balls. I look for him to get some targets. It's not like you can really subtract much from 2 to 4 targets a game anyways. It's not like you can take much away from that. If anything, he might have softer coverage because they got to peel back for Shaheed. You got Jackson Smith and Najigba on the other side. He might see a reduction of snaps, though. That might impact him. But if you're still only getting a handful of targets anyways, we'll see what happens with that. I like him more for deeper leagues. 14-team plus right now. I don't think you're really going to be able to throw him in lineups anyways in a 12-team league unless you're that bad off. But if you're that bad off, you're in a bad situation in the standings. Jalen Nailor. A lot of people are going to run to him chasing the production. Don't chase the production, chase the workload. 6 targets, so okay workload here. But we need the game scripts to break for this to happen. Between Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, well over 20 targets in that matchup. That's where the targets are going to go. Then you got Hawk, you got the run game, not much left for Nailor, not going to be consistent. I look for him to be a gamble flex, and I would use him in the big-time game scripts. Maybe against the Bears, but most often you can't in 12-team leagues. Commanders, Seattle, Packers. Going to be hard to do. Going to be hard to do. I'd look somewhere else. Mack Hollins, our boy Mack Hollins enters the chat. I look for him to have a few more splash weeks. The matchup doesn't matter. You see that with the Browns game there. It just doesn't matter. Drake May doesn't care, and if he got to go down to second, third, fourth reads, then he's going to do it, and he's going to be going to Mack there, and Mack's good with good contested catchability. He has been solid and has been productive with multiple different teams. Every year he's in the waiver wire content, and every year he's with a different team. Look for him to have more splash games. Look for him to be off and on. I wouldn't chase the production. I would just chase him as a flex gamble, hitting probably about every other or once every 2.5 games. I like that Cincy game for him. That could be an interesting one. Rougher matchups too. I would not be too scared of him, even though it could impact him, but it could impact him in a positive way as they're just going down the line in the progressions and he gets that contested target. Malik Washington. The fantasy community likes him. He had a good draft profile from Virginia. He looked good in the All-Star game circuit. However, his ADOT's like 4.4 yards. It's horrible. He's only getting short targets. He's a short target merchant. He needs to rack up around 9 to 10 targets for that to be successful or to get a lot of touchdowns. That's hard to do when you're 5'8". So we need to rack up. Yeah, we need to start racking some shit up here to be productive because we ain't getting it on the deep ball. 45% snap share. He's mentioned a lot of waiver wire articles. I'd stay away. Too volatile. He is due to hit. He hasn't hit for a bit. He's only hit one game this season. That is your answer. And the targets are short. Stay away. Calvin Austin, starting off the season, he's a splash play dandy. He has 3 games where he's hit the fairway. That is something to pay attention to. That matchup against the Bengals here, that could be a good one for him. That could be a matchup you look at for prop bets, DFS. Check out those numbers when you're looking at starting him. Gamble flex. Now, one of the gamble flexes, I think I brought up like 5 that I'm interested in. I'm interested in the Steelers-Cincy game. It blew up last time. Flacco's going to push it. That's going to be a good push for Rodgers. Calvin Austin will probably hit maybe about 2 more times this season. DK's back. I like DK. I believe he should be rostered, and he will be rostered, and he's rostered in most leagues. I like DK, though. I like DK in a lot of matchups. I think he will be volatile because it is the Titans. You got to know that going in. But when I'm looking at flex gambles here, and our snap rates up, our route rates up, targets are up, we're splashing big time in big moments off the bye week, I like him. I don't like some of the matchups. I don't like Houston. I don't like Jacksonville. I don't like Cleveland. Seattle can be sketchy, but it's also the Titans. All their matchups are going to be like that anyways, even in promising ones. You're just going to have to put your nuts on the table and make that decision with them, but he's a flex gamble. Luther Burden is a hell of a stash. He will probably hit once or twice this season, but we're looking at the targets, the routes, the snaps to start to increase. We were out there for a 49% snap rate last week. That's huge. That's the biggest on the season. Hopefully that's a sign of more to come. Hopefully that's a sign of him getting more opportunities. Is he primed to break out? We don't know. That's what they're trying to say in Rotoballer. But when you write those little news blurbs on the articles that goes to Sleeper and all the sites, you're really just chugging on writing a bunch of those. I know from experience. So it's really like you're throwing shit out there. Luther Burden, though, tremendous talent, former 5-star recruit, should have been a first-round pick. You're looking at a wide receiver here with immense upside, big-time stash, a player I am interested in. Kyle Williams, if you're looking for another stash and you're looking at a wide receiver here, you may want to invest in him. However, not so fast. Butte was out in that game. Butte back. Butte more routes and snaps, less for Kyle. But going back to his draft portfolio, going back to what we saw on tape back at Washington State, he's a twitched-up wide receiver, but he's very assertive, very aggressive at the catch points. I do not expect him to ever become Justin Jefferson, but I could see him carving out a good role in the league. I could see him doing that in the back 9 of the season. If I'm in a deeper league where I can make room on my bench, I will stash. However, traditional 12-team league, hard to chase right now. Don't chase the production. If Butte's out a bit, then you may want to look at it a little bit more. A.D. Mitchell. First off, you're on the Jets. The Jets are struggling to throw for over 100 yards in a game. So there's your risk. We want this in leagues where we got deeper lineup requirements and we want to chase upside. We look at this as a stash. We look at this as a wide receiver that's going to get the ball deep downfield. That's a big play wide receiver, and we're going to see if we can catch gold on that gamble. Traditional 12-team leagues, no, because we're stashing running backs. We're not getting off of that. If I got a stud running back and I got him cuffed, I'm not getting off of that. I'm not doing that. I'm probably not picking up any of these wide receivers unless I absolutely have to make a lineup. If I'm good, if I got good plays, I'm not coming off my stash running backs, not for this. So 14-team plus, 16-teamers, more than likely, deeper lineup requirements. Upside, though, you're chasing that unicorn, Olamide Zaccheaus. If you're looking for something that's a gamble to throw into the flex, we're running a bit of routes. We're getting a decent snap rate. We're getting work out of the slot. This team has been targeting the slot more. They are putting Roma Dunze in the slot a little bit more. That's what they did last week, which is smart on them. He didn't fire last week, but this is a gamble. He's going to hit probably once out of 3 games. Luther Burden getting a higher snap share, very similar to what Lemonade got here. We're looking at this, and that strikes pause from game to game to game. But going into this, even this video, I wasn't looking at him as a game-to-game-to-game asset for my lineups anyways, unless I have to in like a 16-teamer where I'm starting 3 wide receivers, some flexes, then yeah, that's probably a thing you're looking at every week. But traditional leagues, that's something to pause on. There's other wide receivers to look at, but he's a gamble week to week due to the targets and some of these game scripts breaking. Cedric Tillman has entered the chat, came back last week and got 4 targets. Now we know the Browns offense is bad. It is meme bad. Dylan Gabriel's awful. They're eventually going to make the change at quarterback, and Shedeur Sanders would fit well with him. Shedeur Sanders probably doesn't have any reps with him. I don't know if they know each other's name, but getting deeper targets downfield would fit Tillman, and a more aggressive quarterback would fit Tillman. He's running routes. He's getting an opportunity. He splashed with different quarterbacks last year. A guy to look at off the waiver wire if he's still there. Tyler Lockett's the crafty vet who's seeing an increased snap rate by the week. We got the Cowboys coming up. Of course, it's a no with the Browns, maybe even with the Chargers on the road. You got the Cowboys. If you're in dire straits, this is a wide receiver to pay attention for in lineups this week. I'm not going to advocate it as a must start, but you got to do what you got to do when you got to do it, and I understand. But those are the wide receivers we're looking at going into week 11. Let me know who's your pickups in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.